Now, for more on Donald Trump's current difficulties, we're joined by Ian Reifowitz, history professor at Empire State College of the State University of New York. You're very welcome to France 24. Could you tell us what your reaction is to the appointment of the special prosecutor?
Well, this is something that is really crossing the Rubicon, so to speak. What it means is that there will be a recognition that this can no longer be handled through normal channels, hence the term special prosecutor. We have not had a special prosecutor appointed in the last two presidencies. And before that, we had something called the Independent Counsel, which was created through legislation after Watergate. And I bring up Watergate very specifically because the special counsel the appointment of a special counsel is something that reminds us of what happened under Richard Nixon. Richard Nixon was being investigated for activities that were in violation of his oath of office, and in fact, the special prosecutor was appointed. And then, when the special prosecutor got a little too close to comfort for President Nixon, he fired him, or in fact, he ordered his attorney general to fire him. Well, the attorney general refused to fire him and resigned, and then his deputy also refused to fire the special prosecutor, and he resigned. This was called the Saturday Night Massacre, and it was really the beginning of the end for President Nixon. We don't know yet if this is the beginning of the end for President Trump, but it certainly is the beginning of a new phase in this investigation, a much more serious phase.
Well, Donald Trump seems to be quite confident that this investigation will come up with nothing. He has said as much in the past 24 hours. There's also the difficulty of, for example, Mike Flynn, the former national security advisor, saying that he won't cooperate with any subpoenas. So is this investigation likely to go very far? Donald Trump seems pretty confident that it won't.
Well, look, you never know where an investigation is going to go. If you remember the investigation of President Clinton that led to his impeachment for lying about sexual relations with Paula Jones started out as an investigation of Whitewater, a real estate endeavor in which the Clintons were found to have done nothing wrong. So we really don't know where this is going to take us, but we have some ideas. The fact is that, as your report mentioned, Director Mueller, as special prosecutor, can also look into the firing of James Comey. The firing of James Comey may itself lead to some kind of charges, whether it's obstruction of justice or something along those lines. A number of commentators have mentioned that. Look, the fact is that the word impeachment was mentioned on the House floor, the floor of the United States House of Representatives, by a Democrat. But a Republican, Justin Amash of Michigan, also said that, look, if the firing of Comey does lead to obstruction of justice charges, he would impeach as well, and that's a Republican. Now, that's an if statement, but still, the fact that the word impeachment crossed the lips of a Republican and not at all in a dismissive way says that we don't know where this is going to go. I wouldn't say it's likely that this is going to lead to Donald Trump's removal. We're nowhere near being able to say that yet. But we're only barely 3 months, not even 4, into the new administration, and we've got a special counsel appointed. This is not normal operating procedure for the President of the United States. We can say that at least.
And to what extent do you think this will impact on Donald Trump's ability to implement his policies? It looks like at this point that already the markets are beginning to react. We're hearing talk of the Trump bump becoming a Trump slump. In other words, markets are losing confidence in Donald Trump's promises vis-a-vis implementing his tax breaks and business-friendly reforms.
Right. Everybody likes a good rhyme, so that sounded great. We did see in today's news, actually, today's New York Times, it was reported that the tax plan, the tax reform plan that Republicans in Congress have been pushing for the past few weeks, it now looks less and less likely to be done this year. Apparently, Mitch McConnell, the Senate Majority Leader, is saying, "Well, we're going to do it this Congress." Well, it's only a hop, skip, and a jump from this year to this Congress to not at all. I think you're going to see, and again, it's an if President Trump's troubles continue along these with these investigations, which are very serious investigations, you're going to see fewer and fewer Republicans being willing to take risks on his behalf, and also it's simply a fact that a strong functioning White House is an important part of pushing major controversial legislation. If the White House is distracted or unable to get its hands on corralling its legislators, it's that much less likely that anything is going to pass. If President Trump's approval ratings continue to decline, and they're already at a historic low for a new president, if they continue to decline, he's just not going to have the political muscle to get Republicans in the Congress to make tough votes. And it's hard to pass controversial legislation without taking tough votes.
All right, Ian Reifowitz, thank you very much for those insights.